In the world of geopolitics, certain locations carry a weight far beyond their physical size. They represent strategy, deterrence, and the delicate balance of power between rival states. When developments occur around these locations, analysts across the globe begin asking the same question: what happens next? Recent reports surrounding activity near Iran's Natanz nuclear complex have once again pushed the Middle East into the center of international attention. According to regional monitoring sources and geopolitical observers, developments around the facility have triggered intense discussion among military analysts and strategic planners. But the story may not end with Natanz. Security experts are now examining a broader possibility. If tensions continue to escalate between Iran and Israel, another facility could theoretically enter the strategic conversation: Israel's Dimona Nuclear Research Center. For decades, both sites have represented critical pillars in the security architecture of their respective nations. Now, some analysts warn that the evolving situation could bring both into the same geopolitical equation. To understand why this matters, we must first examine what has recently unfolded. Reports began circulating after monitoring groups and regional analysts observed developments near the Natanz nuclear complex, located in central Iran. Natanz has long been known as one of the country's primary uranium enrichment facilities and has played a central role in Iran's nuclear program. In the early hours following the reports, international observers began studying satellite imagery and open-source intelligence to determine what exactly had taken place. While official confirmations remained limited, the situation quickly attracted attention from governments, intelligence agencies, and global media outlets. Iranian authorities acknowledged developments near the site, but released few details about the cause or the extent of any potential damage. At the same time, international nuclear watchdogs and geopolitical analysts began evaluating the situation carefully. Whenever activity occurs around a location as strategically sensitive as Natanz, it immediately raises questions about potential causes. Analysts typically examine a wide range of possibilities, including technical incidents, sabotage operations, cyber activity, or broader geopolitical tensions. In this case, the lack of immediate clarity only intensified speculation among international observers. But for experts who study the Middle East's strategic landscape, the situation cannot be understood without considering the long and complicated history between Iran and Israel. For years, the two countries have been engaged in what many geopolitical observers describe as a shadow conflict. Unlike traditional wars fought on open battlefields, this rivalry has largely unfolded through covert operations, cyber activities, intelligence missions, and indirect confrontations across the region. Both countries rarely acknowledge specific operations publicly. However, analysts widely agree that this ongoing competition has shaped many of the security dynamics in the Middle East over the past 2 decades. Natanz itself has previously appeared in headlines connected to mysterious incidents and cyber disruptions. Security experts often reference the sophisticated cyber operation known as Stuxnet, which reportedly targeted Iranian nuclear infrastructure more than a decade ago. While responsibility for such operations is rarely officially confirmed, they illustrate the complex nature of modern geopolitical competition. At the same time, attention often turns to Israel's Dimona nuclear research facility, located deep in the Negev desert. Dimona has long been viewed by analysts as a central component of Israel's strategic deterrence capabilities. Although Israel maintains a long-standing policy of nuclear ambiguity and does not officially confirm many details about its program, the facility remains one of the most closely watched sites in the region. Because of this, discussions about Natanz often raise parallel questions about Dimona. Strategic planners frequently analyze how both facilities fit into the broader balance of power between Iran and Israel. This is where the conversation moves from isolated incidents to strategic implications. Military analysts focus on several key factors when evaluating developments involving critical infrastructure, such as nuclear facilities. One of the most important is range capability. Modern missile systems across the region have significantly expanded their reach over the past 2 decades. Advances in propulsion technology, guidance systems, and launch platforms have created an environment in which strategic targets may fall within the theoretical reach of multiple actors. However, range alone does not determine vulnerability. Both Iran and Israel maintain complex and layered air defense networks designed to intercept incoming threats. These systems include radar networks, interceptor missiles, and early warning capabilities intended to detect and neutralize potential attacks. Another critical factor is strategic deterrence. Facilities associated with nuclear programs often carry enormous symbolic value. They are not simply industrial sites. They represent national capability, technological advancement, and strategic independence. Because of this, any threat involving such locations can dramatically increase tensions between rival states. Intelligence experts also point out that actions surrounding these facilities may sometimes serve as strategic signals rather than direct military objectives. In geopolitics, signaling can be just as important as physical outcomes. Demonstrating capability, testing defenses, or sending a message to adversaries can all play a role in the complex chess game of international security. As analysts examine the latest developments, many emphasize that understanding the broader regional consequences is essential. The Middle East occupies a uniquely important position in the global economic system. Any escalation between major regional powers has the potential to affect far more than local politics. Energy markets, for example, remain highly sensitive to geopolitical tensions in the region. A significant portion of the world's oil supply moves through Middle Eastern export routes. Even the perception of instability can cause fluctuations in global energy prices. One of the most critical locations in this equation is the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean and serves as a major transit route for international oil shipments. Security analysts frequently highlight the strait as one of the world's most important maritime choke points. If tensions were to increase dramatically, shipping routes throughout the region could face heightened security concerns. Beyond energy markets, diplomatic consequences could also emerge. Major global powers, including the United States, European nations, Russia, and China, all maintain strategic interests in the Middle East. When regional tensions rise, international diplomacy often intensifies in an effort to prevent further escalation. Alliances across the region also play a crucial role. Countries throughout the Middle East maintain complex relationships involving security cooperation, economic partnerships, and defense agreements. Any shift in the balance between Iran and Israel could influence how these relationships evolve in the months ahead. For this reason, analysts are now carefully considering what might happen next. One possible scenario involves controlled escalation. In this outcome, both sides continue sending strategic signals while avoiding direct large-scale confrontation. This type of calculated tension has occurred before in the region, where rival powers test each other's responses without crossing certain red lines. Another possibility is the intensification of the shadow conflict. Cyber operations, covert sabotage efforts, and intelligence activities could increase as each side attempts to gain advantage without triggering open warfare. A third scenario involves a broader regional deterrence standoff. In such a situation, military forces across the region might shift into heightened defensive positions. Increased patrols, air defense readiness, and intelligence monitoring could become more common as countries prepare for potential instability. There is also the possibility of diplomatic intervention. International organizations and major global powers often step in when tensions threaten to escalate into wider conflict. Negotiations, back-channel discussions, and emergency diplomatic meetings could attempt to stabilize the situation. However, experts consistently emphasize that predicting the next move in complex geopolitical rivalries is extremely difficult. Decisions are influenced by a wide range of factors, including domestic politics, intelligence assessments, military readiness, and international pressure. This uncertainty is precisely what keeps analysts around the world watching developments so closely. For decades, facilities like Natanz and Dimona have existed at the center of strategic calculations in the Middle East. They symbolize technological capability, national security, and the delicate balance between deterrence and confrontation. Now, according to geopolitical observers, recent developments may have brought both locations into a renewed strategic spotlight. Whether these events represent a temporary escalation, a warning signal, or the beginning of a larger shift remains unclear. What is certain, however, is that every development surrounding these sites will continue to be examined with extraordinary attention by governments, intelligence agencies, and international observers. Because in geopolitics, moments like these often carry consequences far beyond their immediate location. The Middle East has experienced cycles of tension and diplomacy before. Each new development adds another layer to a complex regional story that has been unfolding for decades. As analysts continue to study the latest reports, one question remains at the forefront of the global conversation. Are these developments simply another chapter in a long-running strategic rivalry? Or could they signal the early stages of a new and more dangerous phase in Middle Eastern geopolitics? For now, the answer remains uncertain. But one thing is clear. When two of the region's most sensitive nuclear-related facilities enter the same strategic discussion, the entire world begins paying attention. And, according to many geopolitical observers, the developments unfolding today may only be the beginning of a much larger story still waiting to unfold.